One unintentional kiss. That's all it took to stir something inside me, something I had carefully hidden away for years. I never expected that night to shift the way I saw everything. My career, my choices, and especially him, the man I had worked beside for more than 10 years. Some moments arrive quietly, unfolding like a flawless melody, every note reaching someplace deep. It began like any other evening. The company's annual gala had just ended, and the city lights shimmered through the large glass windows of the rooftop hall. Laughter from my coworkers still danced in my ears as I stepped outside, grateful to feel the cold night air. My heels throbbed slightly, a gentle reminder of the hours spent smiling and socializing. Heading out already? I turned. Adrian Blake, my supervisor for the past 12 years. A man with quiet strength, silver just beginning to show at his temples. Always polished. Always in control. At 61, he carried the presence of someone who had built something lasting. But that night, there was something different in his gaze. Just catching my breath, I replied, offering a small smile. That was quite an evening, he said, stepping next to me, his hands tucked into his pockets. The usual distance in his voice softened beneath the warm glow of the lamps. It was, I said. Though, truthfully, those nights aren't really my scene. He chuckled. Strange, considering I host them every year. That's just business, I said with a shrug. But you actually looked like you were having fun. Maybe I've gotten better at pretending. We stood quietly, the city murmuring around us. Yet in that hush, it felt like we were apart from it all. No ranks, no expectations. Just two people catching a moment of calm. Then he said something I hadn't anticipated. I'm not quite ready to head home. Would you like to grab a drink? I paused. We'd had conversations outside of work before, late-night calls, planning over coffee. But this was something else. There was a tone in his voice. A pause. An unspoken offer that made my chest tighten. Sure, I said after a moment. Why not? We wandered through quieter streets, leaving behind the towers and lights, slipping into a lounge nestled between two weathered buildings. It was warm and dim, soft jazz curling through the space. The kind of place untouched by the world's rush. We slid into a corner booth. He loosened his tie, a rare sight, and looked at me. Truly looked. You've been with the company a long time, he said, gently spinning the amber in his glass. 12 years, I nodded. Do you ever wonder what might have happened if you'd picked a different direction? I blinked. You mean, do I regret anything? He shook his head. Not regrets. Just wonder. Do you ever think about the paths you didn't take? I exhaled slowly. I think everyone does sometimes. But I like to believe that every step, every turn, brings us right where we're meant to be. He smiled, thoughtful. That's a grounded way to look at it. We talked, not about deadlines or results, but about life. He spoke of the early struggles, of sacrifices he made. I shared parts of myself too, the hopes I used to chase, the moments that shaped who I became. Time slipped away. One glass became two, then three. And in that space between shared laughter and soft pauses, something shifted. He reached across the table, fingertips brushing the back of my hand. Gentle, searching. I didn't pull away. I've never said this, he murmured, but I've always respected you. Not just your work. You have this way about you, like you can hold chaos together. My heart skipped. You've always been steady for me, he added. Maybe I didn't realize how much that meant until now. I didn't have words. Adrian wasn't just my employer. He was someone I'd admired, someone whose approval meant more than I'd admitted. But here, in this quiet lounge, I wasn't thinking about job roles.
I was thinking about him.
About us. I should go, I whispered, though I wasn't sure I meant it. He nodded. Let me walk you. We moved through silent streets. At my building, we stopped. Thank you, he said softly. For tonight. For listening. I smiled. Same to you. And then I leaned forward.
Just barely.
The moment shrank. The world faded. I pulled back, breath uneven. Good night, Adrian, I whispered, stepping inside. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. This was just the beginning. The next morning, I woke earlier than normal.
His eyes.
His voice. That almost kiss. I poured my coffee, trying to clear my head. Nothing had truly happened. Nothing was allowed to happen. Still, as I entered the office, everything felt different. I saw him through his glass office. He was on a call. But when his eyes lifted and found mine, there it was. A barely there smile. One only I would catch. The day drifted past. He stopped by my desk more often than he needed to. His gaze lingered a second too long. By late afternoon, I needed fresh air. I stepped out onto the office terrace, the cold breeze slipping under my blouse. You've been avoiding me. I turned. Adrian stood a few feet away, hands deep in his pockets. That's a bit much. Is it? He stepped closer. Last night it was different. I know, I whispered. I mean it, Adrian. We can't go down this road. I know what you're thinking, he said. That it's dangerous. That it changes the dynamic. It does change it, I said, more to myself. You're my superior. There are lines. I'm not worried about lines. His voice was soft.
Sure.
This isn't about roles or expectations. It's about something real. You felt it too. I saw it in your eyes. I couldn't argue. He moved slightly closer, brushing his fingers against my wrist. Just a touch, but it sent a ripple through me. For so long, I've built my world around certainty, I said. Around control. And with me. With you, I feel something shift. I don't know where this goes, he said, voice low. Neither do I. But maybe that's okay. A wind stirred. I shivered. Without hesitation, he slid his coat off and placed it over my shoulders. Come on, he said with a tilt of his head. Let's get out of here. I looked through the terrace doors at the familiar hum of office life. I could walk back in, pretend none of it mattered. But it did. All right, I said, surprising myself. We ended up in a quiet, softly glowing restaurant. Low music, murmured voices. He ordered wine. As I took a sip, I let myself relax. So, what are we doing here? I asked. He studied me, his usual mask replaced by something warmer. Truthfully, he said, I wanted to be somewhere we didn't have to fake it. Fake what? That last night didn't mean something. The words hung there, full and unshakable. It did, I whispered. He looked relieved, maybe even vulnerable. And we talked, really talked, about what we were feeling. I told him how I'd always made work the priority, how I'd convinced myself that deep connection was for other people, people who still believed in timing. He listened, gently. His hand brushed mine, steady. You're not the only one, he said. And I believed him. When we left, the city had gone quiet. Street lamps glowed softly, stretching light over the pavement. At a corner, he paused. I don't want to force this, he said. But I won't act like it doesn't matter. My heart pounded. It's messy. He gave a soft laugh. That's putting it mildly. We stood there, wrapped in night. Then, without overthinking it, I leaned closer. Adrian's breath caught. His gaze searched mine. And this time I didn't stop myself. The kiss was gentle, slow, honest. Like the beginning of something we'd both been too cautious to name until now.